Hello, everyone. I'm Becky Suzik. Welcome to the Co-Creators Convergence. I'm filling in for Bob and Noel tonight, and I'm really grateful to be here. We are in our Zoom room for the Co-Creators Convergence, and we welcome our guests into the Zoom room, and we ask that you not turn on your videos until later in our program when we'll be inviting your questions. So thank you for joining us. And for those of you who are watching on Facebook, welcome as well. Before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit about Co-Creators Convergence and what we have been coming up and what we have coming up this Saturday and next Thursday. Typically, we meet every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then we have some Saturdays as well. We also have our 9th annual Co-Creators Convergence in-person gathering coming up October 14th through the 18th at the most blissful and peaceful place, the White Eagle Lodge in Montgomery, Texas. Now, without any further ado, let me tell you a little bit about Co-Creators Convergence before I turn it over to Connie and Sande. And so I'm going to share a little video that I have. It is really awesome to be here tonight, and we're going to hear from a dynamic duo, Connie, Baxter, Marlow, and Sande Hart. And we're really grateful that they're contributing to Co-Creators Convergence tonight. Now, I'll start by introducing Sande Hart. Sande is an award-winning leader in the fields of women's empowerment and the interfaith community. She is president of the Women's Interfaith Global Organization, S.A.R.A.H, which stands for the Spiritual and Religious Alliance for Hope, now in its 19th year. Sande served in leadership as chair for the North American region of the United Religions Initiative, founder of Compassionate California, and developed and served as director for the Women and Girls sector for the Charter for Compassion. She recently released her book, The Liminal Odyssey, Alchemical Power of the Spaces In-Between. Sande is currently being inducted into the Women's Oral History Archives of Claremont Colleges. Above all, Sande is a mother, grandmother, wife, aunt, and sister from Southern California. Now, Connie is an author, filmmaker, photographer, and futurist. Her uplifting worldview offers a practical means of transcending the current paradigm through absolute trust in a conscious, loving, interconnected, and abundant universe. She has co-authored with her life partner, Andrew Cameron Bailey, the game-changing book, The Trust Frequency, 10 Assumptions for a New Paradigm, which synthesizes indigenous cosmology, quantum science, and Eastern and Western mysticism into a framework that is a unique articulation of universal truths and offers practical transformational tools for accessing a higher vibratory state of awareness where there is more beauty, balance, joy, and abundance than we can fathom, and peace on earth is realized. So I'm really grateful to spotlight our wonderful guests and just bless you both, and thank you for being here, and thank you for what you're about to bring into our awareness, and pass it over to you, Sande.
Thank you, beautiful Becky. And I believe this is the first time, Connie, that we've been called the dynamic duo. That I think she's got it right, because it's really an honor to play with you in this world. And hello, everybody. Hello, everybody out there live. I'm really honored to be in virtual dynamic circle with you, and welcome you here from the mundane to the miraculous, which is ultimately the goal, where we start seeing the insignificant as the insignificance. And this all unfolded in me as I was writing the Liminal Odyssey, which I'm going to get to in a bit. But first, let me tell you a little bit about what we're going to be doing within the short time that we have together. We are going to be hearing about this elegant coinciding, this elegant co-creation that emerged in for me, the process when I was writing, how important the trust frequency was showing up in all of my coming up for me. And so I started writing about that, and as I did, it deepened the process for me in such a way, and it heightened so much for me, that the book from that moment on wrote itself. So, and again, we're going to get to that. You're going to hear about the trust frequency. You're going to, from Connie, you're going to experience what she and Andrew called the 10 assumptions for a new paradigm. And that includes the 7 A's. And you might want to be taking notes on those because they are dynamic and really powerful. And the Liminal Odyssey is also comprised of a set of skills. I call them power tools, but there is room for your modalities and methodologies that work for you too. And again, we're going to get to that, but you're going to see how those 12 skills and the framework in which Connie and Andrew have developed just work, again, so elegantly and gracefully together to really create a coherence, a efficiency of energy that is unparalleled. So I'm really excited to be here again with you all. And now it's really my honor now for you to hear from Connie, who is going to share a little bit more.
Well, it's a big treat to be here with Sande in this co-creative space, the co-creatives convergence. And Barbara Marx Hubbard just says it so beautifully, that we are all in this together. And this co-creation brings forth something new. And that's what we're doing now, is all of us coming together. And a grandmother once said to me, I asked if there was a leader of this movement that's coming on the planet. And she said, no, we're all going to fit our pieces of the hoop together and create the hoop of life. So that's what we're doing right here, right now, is bringing our pieces together with all of you who are listening and transforming from Sande's and my sharings. So we look forward to our time together, and some time with you. Once we finish with our little shtick, we'll bring you on, and we'll all have a common space that we'll learn from each other.
Thank you, Connie. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm going to just spend just a few minutes telling you about the philosophy of the Liminal Odyssey, because it's a book, it's a philosophy, but it's also an adventure. And the word liminal, which, I'm not surprised that so many haven't heard that word, because it was about 1.5 years ago that I learned what that word meant. So, the process of writing the book, I thought it was set out to tell a story, a single story of something an experience that I had that I've been urged to tell for so long. And as I started writing and thinking about what was going on inside of me at that moment, because you have to sort of fill the pages, I started thinking about this new word liminal that I had just heard at the same time as picking up the pen again to try to tell this story. Liminal means threshold. It means the place between crisis and action, dilemma and choice. But it's also the space in between, perhaps an evolutionary growth spurt that we are in right now. And regardless of how you look at it on a microcosmic scale or an evolutionary growth spurt, it's all about our choice. And this is our moment of choice. This is our opportunity to really not step over this threshold, but step into it, because we don't know where we're going, but we know we're on our way. And this new place that is calling us is really, I think, is asking us all to be as squeaky clean as we can in our integrity, show up in our authenticity, come completely equipped with showing up with who we are. What is our divine assignment? What is our planetary, gift? What is the task our soul came here through us, each individually, to manifest and to make happen? Because we're not serving anybody if we're not serving our soul's purpose, in my opinion. And so this is what evolved out of me in the process of writing a single story that spread out to 11 more stories. And each of those stories is anchored in a particular skill or philosophy that made sense to me, had meaning for me. And then synchronicities started just, showing up in big, bold colors where I couldn't ignore them. And so I started to experiment with cultivating synchronicities and really taking those mundane moments and watching them unfold as miraculous. And those things that we step over every day, those thresholds, those cracks in the sidewalk, where we might just be missing a beautiful message from our spirit guide, from our God, from the ascended masters, from our angels, for our soul, whomever you feel inspired by. I believe those synchronicities and those messages that happen all day long are cues to follow them into that liminal space. But when I started thinking about the trust frequency, everything elevated. Everything rose to a whole nother frequency level, literally. And I'm excited to go through those with you now. And then you'll also see the Liminal Odyssey philosophies and how everything clicks so beautifully. And all right, so Connie, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
Well, yes, and I just wanted to say about the trust frequency that it was gifted to me through the question I asked, because the answers you get depend on the questions you ask, because the universe wants to answer what your soul is seeking so you can bring it through. And I asked, what are the missing pieces of our paradigm? What has humanity out of balance? Why aren't we in alignment with the love in our heart? I saw through Florence Nightingale, I saw that the human was so capable of such love. And I saw that we were out of balance. And I came from a family who gave all their money away. So I'm like, what? Why did they do that? They were great philanthropists. And native elders started coming into my life. I went to Europe looking for these missing pieces and just found the same thinking in Europe. And then visionary native elders started coming into my life. And I saw through them clues to what I got was the true nature of the universe, that they were carrying clues for humanity. And that time has come now. And I call it the third great synthesis, because the time has come. We've had two other times when we've come together with the native people and brought something very beautiful to the party, which is the United States of America. Actually, that's a bunch of work we do. But this third great synthesis is coming now, where we're opening our hearts and minds to the native people, because the environmental crisis has said, oh, hey, wait a minute, this thing isn't working, the whole collapse of everything. And we're coming now, and the new science is actually proving what the indigenous peoples have known for so long. So this third great synthesis is opening our hearts to our pan-indigenousness, the knowledge we each have within us that is universal. And when we're tuned into that frequency, we get it. We just have to get our minds out of the way. And that's what the trust frequency 10 assumptions for a new paradigm is about. It's a construct on the nature of the universe that takes us beyond duality, beyond right and wrong, beyond good and evil. It's a huge leap, but it's that place that Rumi talked about, that field beyond right doing and wrongdoing. And so it's an exciting time. And now I'm going to share with you these principles of the trust frequency. And what I want you to do is I want you to,
sorry, Connie.
I want you to sit in your chair, get yourself in a position where you're comfortable and where you are open and receptive to listening and learning and growing, and just set aside preconceived ideas and notions and ways of thinking, and just sit comfortably and be receptive to what I'm going to bring. So let's take a few deep breaths together. And now, please focus on your inner knowing, wherever that manifests for you, in your heart, in your body, in your right brain, in your left brain. Allow the words I will be reading to flow through that space without judgment. Accept them as absolutely true. Let any resistance melt into the now space and just be with the ideas that create the container for our time together. I will first offer some definitions of the words I will be using, and then the 10 assumptions. And Sande will bring them into practice on her Liminal Odyssey. So here we go. These are the definitions of the words that we use in the trust frequency. Assumption, a core belief which we take to be true without question. Paradigm, a set of agreed upon assumptions which create a consensus reality. Humanity, a collection of divine, autonomous, sovereign beings who have chosen to incarnate on earth to learn and grow on their soul's journey to wholeness, each with an individual purpose and a unique gift. Love, the fundamental unifying and creative force of the universe. Frequency, the vibratory rate that determines the characteristics of a particular reality. There is a wide range of frequencies, each with its own reality and its own distinct laws. The trust frequency, where the soul's destiny awaits with more abundance, balance, freedom, and joy than we can fathom, where the true nature of the universe is experienced. free will, the right to choose one's frequency. Circumstance, the seemingly uncontrollable outward events that influence our decision. Consciousness, universal consciousness, the primordial life energy of the universe. Human consciousness, the active and passive phenomena of awareness, assumption, attitude, attention, alignment, action, and allowing, which determine our frequency. The universe, all that is, both manifest and unmanifest, also known as God, Creator, Atman, and so on. We call it the conscious, loving universe. And here are the 10 assumptions. 1, we live in a conscious, loving universe. There is only love. The universe loves us unconditionally. It gives us everything we ask for. 3, we create reality by the power of our consciousness. 4, the 7 A's, awareness, assumption, attitude, attention, alignment, action, and allowing, determine our frequency and are our requests to the universe. 5, free will is an absolute law of the universe. We have the freedom to choose our frequency. We are masters of our own destiny. 6, circumstance guides us on our journey to wholeness. 7, there is only now, this precious present moment. Living trustingly in the now, we experience the true nature of the universe. 8, all of creation is one. Separation is a man-made illusion. We are the conscious, loving universe. 9, humanity is on an evolutionary upward spiral, leading inexorably to a higher reality, the trust frequency, heaven on earth. 10, the trust frequency is a real place of unfathomable joy, peace, and abundance that is freely available to anyone, anywhere, anytime. And then I'd like to share with you the sentence, the 7 A's sentence. And those 7 A's in one sentence, here's the sentence. With expanded awareness and accurate assumptions, we choose our attitude, consciously direct our attention, align with our highest inner promptings, take committed action, and allow the loving universe to manifest beyond our wildest dreams. So that's a little toolkit, that little sentence. for really understanding where we're at during the day. We can check our 7As anytime during the day to see where our attention is, what we're aligning with, what our attitude is. Are we aligned with our highest inner promptings? Are we taking bold, committed action? And are we allowing the loving universe to manifest beyond our wildest dreams? So now Sande will take us on a little liminal odyssey into the trust frequency and beyond, and show us the magic of what exists when one actually walks in total trust. So her Liminal Odyssey is a magical mystery tour. So thank you, Sande.
Thank you so much, Connie. I cannot hear this enough. And I am a product of this, of your work and yours and Andrew's life work. And I'm so grateful to you. So once again, I can express the deep gratitude I have for you and bringing forth this understanding, because it really is a lived practice. It doesn't always come easy. It does require practice, but we know through neuroplasticity, don't we, that practice creates habits. And I'm experiencing it daily, even this morning. I have been faced with a difficult situation, but immediately my subconscious picked up, and then it went right into my conscious, that we live in a loving conscious universe. And what's more, that circumstance guides our destiny towards wholeness. That is a big one for me. That's a hard one, everyone, right? That's a hard one, because circumstance isn't always pleasant. And it's, this is easy to know when things are easy and comfortable and going just swimmingly, like we all want our life to go. What matters is when it's not, right? And this is why we practice when things are comfortable. So when they're not, it becomes our default system. It's something we immediately go to. And I, myself and my husband and my kids have witnessed this in me in real time. And they're calling me out. It's like, oh, I like the way you handled that, Mom. You used to not do that. So I think it's really important to know that I completely personalized the 12 skills, the 12 practices. The first one that I identified is the sacred art of listening. This is reverent listening. And the most gorgeous quote I may have ever heard and may ever hear for the rest of my life is, to listen another soul into a condition of discovery and disclosure may almost be the greatest service gift that any human being ever performs for another. To listen another soul into a condition of discovery and disclosure may be the greatest gift we could do for another, as well as for our soul. To listen our soul into our own discovery of its task is truly an amazing experience. And I'm going to go through all of these, and then we'll come back to, I'll show you how the trust frequency elevated them for me. Here's a word that I coined: timefulness. I consider it a power tool. It's Kairos time. Kairos time is not Chronos time, which is a manufactured time that we have a society of 60 seconds in a minute. We know we measure that time, but timefulness reminds us to practice being in space that has no limit, that has no time, and to be vulnerable and curious and not expecting an answer right away, because our society likes our answers right away, don't we? So being timeful invites us to practice sacred listening. This provides a beautiful foundation for forgiveness and relativity to our natural world. And by the way, the reason I kind of skipped right over forgiveness is I'm going to come back to that. But forgiveness is a tricky one. It can be sticky for a lot of people, and no two people really have the same pathway to forgiveness. It's a very personal journey. Yet when all of these skills manifest together, we put a new filter on the world and our lives and our experiences and others. And so forgiveness finds its home in a very healthy way. And I'm going to come back to that. And of course, our relativity to our natural world is really about awareness, but I'm going to come back to Connie's skills as well. Cultivating synchronicities I mentioned earlier. And this is really requiring us to be timeful. Right, so sacred art of listening, timefulness, forgiveness, relativity to our natural world, cultivating synchronicities. Whew, this is a big skill to practice, respect and healing of intergenerational trauma. Now, remember, as I'm going through these, keep in mind that as I'm writing this book and I'm telling my own personal stories, these are practices that I either had to recall or go study to make sense of what story I was recalling that I felt was important enough and meaningful enough to share. Recognizing our archetypal personalities. Well, we all can relate to one archetypal, personality. I refer to Maiden Mother Crone, the triple goddess, and as the archetypal personalities. Yet there's, no matter, there's so many different ways of approaching archetypal personalities. You could just Google and see that there's hundreds of different ways of slicing and dicing different personalities. But I refer to Maiden Mother Crone predominantly. Impeccability and integrity of our thoughts, behaviors, and language. This is absolutely critical if we are preparing ourselves to be in service in the highest measure possible to this new emerging world as midwives. We really owe ourselves and our soul the respect, and I feel like we have not just the responsibility, but the privilege to be in our absolute integrity of our thoughts and our behaviors and our language. And that starts with just paying attention to some of the words we use. Again, this is all a practice. I take the word just, J-U-S-T, out of my language. That just discounts what I just said. I'm just calling because. No, I'm calling because, just to give you a very simple explanation, I don't lie. That's something about Sande. You can always count on me for the answer, but I'm also really good about I've recognized the power of not stretching the truth, either deflating it or inflating it. Because it's so much easier and I'm in my integrity and my soul lights up. Again, that I said it earlier, we want to be as squeaky clean as we can be and show up in our wholeness. That's the word integrity, our wholeness. And in doing so, we are going to co-create the world that we want to be in collectively together. I need you to be in your integrity. You need me to be in my integrity. And Connie and Andrew did a presentation not that long ago on what it meant to be a spiritual activist. And for me, the biggest skill there is enlightened self-interest. And that is what I do for myself, I do for you. And what I do for you, I do for myself. And something Andrew said is the most selfish thing he could do is something for you, because it's going to serve him. And so being impeccable with our integrity, and in our integrity of our thoughts and our behaviors and our language cannot be understated here. And again, it's a practice. All of these are practices. Well, mindfulness, I'm going to guess that anybody here and anybody listening and watching this now recognizes the power of being mindful and what it means to be mindful and have your own journey towards mindfulness. Ultimately, we know that, that our thoughts create our reality. Physicists, it's science that our thoughts inform gene activation, and that happens outside of the cell. So keeping in mind and being impeccable, integrity with our thoughts and our behaviors is creating an actual degree of mindfulness. It's a great visualization as well, especially when you feel like your cells are all running amok. You know, if you find you're deregulated or dysregulated, remember, oh, I'm in control of this, and invite everybody to come into line as if you're calling all your children to your lap, and just pay attention to that, because we do have control entirely over our reality. Body awareness is so important. Body awareness is, and it's also really the easiest way to practice mindfulness and practice awareness, is, you know, finding an anchor place in your life, whether it's the restroom or the laundry room or your car or someplace you frequent on a regular basis. Practice 1-minute check-ins on your body. What's going on? That way, when you are dysregulated, you can, which oftentimes we completely discount and drive right through it because we've got other things to do. Take 1 minute and pay attention to what's going on in your body 5 times a day. And it'll become a habit when you start, your subconscious picks up on the fact that you really need a break here, because you're not going to be efficient if you continue to move forward at this pace and in this condition. And it clicks in, it works, this stuff works. I just invite you to practice it 5 times a day, for about 21 days. That's how you make a habit. And identifying and living our divinity. This is really being our sacred gardener. This is being the keeper of the seed in our pocket. We know that we are all entrusted. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We're all entrusted with this sacred task, and we really do ourselves great service, and our soul great service, and one another great service when we identify what it is in living in that divinity with reverence. Yeah. And that's what this time calls for. Whoops. All right. So, all right. So sacred. So here's how here's how the trust frequency showed up for me. Because as I'm writing this book and I'm halfway through it and I come across the trust, I remember the trust frequency, I had to go back and go, wait a minute. What was really alive inside of me when I was practicing sacred art of listening, and I layered in the trust frequency. I'm like, oh, this practice of attention is so powerful. Timefulness, remembering free will, and again, awareness. And the trust frequency, I consider the bonding agent of all of these skills together. You practice them all together, they show up all together. Yet the trust frequency is an essential element, no matter what you add to this list of practices, what you remove and what you replace with a skill that works for you. What matters is we practice those things again when it's convenient, and because when it's not is not the time to forget them. So forgiveness, allowing an attitude. I'm going to bounce down to cultivating synchronicities and the importance of this here, because when you can start mapping your synchronicities, and I do this in a workshop, that we actually do a mapping of your experiences and your allies and those who did not appear at the time to be allies. They might have been villains in your story, but they actually are great gifts, because they're here to show us who we are or what lessons we have to learn. When we start seeing the nectar in the pearls of connectedness in our storylines, because that's what synchronicities do. They create a storyline to otherwise not meaningful experiences find meaning. That's a synchronicity. And when we recognize that is that pearl of connection from one to the other might have been that villain, somebody that we're having a hard time forgiving, then we remember allowing, and that it's also our attitude, shifting our attitude in the trust frequency. So I wanted to stop there. I was hoping you can stay with me, because the forgiveness is something, again, it's a very personal experience, but when we're able to reframe it in the trust frequency, while utilizing some of these other skills, we don't want to forget what happened to us. We recognize this makes up all of our beautiful parts. This really has informed our growth. These are those that we should be bowing down to. Doesn't mean you have to be in relationship with them. That's okay. Boundaries are boundaries. But I really wanted to spend some time on that because that's a biggie. And so relating to our natural world, once again, awareness and assumptions. Paying attention to things, we walk right by a tree that we probably have walked by 100 times, but there's a big message there. And if you are timeful and you spend, give it the attention and the awareness it deserves, and then question assumptions about how you looked at that before. It is a powerful exploration. And then to remember also, that we also have the free will to stop. I mean, I could really apply all the 12 skills and all the 7 A's here, but just to demonstrate how they showed up for me. Here we go again with cultivating synchronicities and awareness, allowing an alignment. And, I've done a little research with people who have practiced the Liminal Odyssey. And the one common thing that everybody agrees to is that more and more synchronicities multiply. They see them everywhere as if they're being broadcasted to them. And they go looking for them now. This is what cultivating synchronicity means. But being in that state of awareness and allowing and then aligning with what's going on, really important. And this again was in, the trust frequency doing its magic. Intergenerational trauma, there's that sticky, it can be a charged conversation, a charged, because you're bringing up, ruptures perhaps in your family, but those patterns and those behaviors really do deserve some attention. And then remember, we have the free will to change those patterns. And remembering that the circumstance guides us, right? The circumstance of our ancestors or immediate family guided us here. I was in Auschwitz. It's actually the last chapter in the book where I was in Auschwitz, and I had an experience where I saw my relatives' names in the records there. And I had an experience where I came to the realization that they did not want me or I should say they wanted me to live my most free, meaningful life in honor of them and their trauma. No grandparent ever says, and I'm a grandmother, no grandmother ever says or grandfather says, I hope you live the same trauma and suffering that I lived. So we have that responsibility, and to remember that it might be their circumstance that guides us as well, and that we have that free will. Here we go again with awareness. Awareness is a big one. I mean, awareness is practiced in so many different ways, and it all starts with awareness, doesn't it? What's going on inside of our body too, and who is driving us right now in our personality. And so we can respond appropriately, because it does, what archetype, maiden, curiosity, playful, curious, mother, responsible, synthesizing, and she can do hard things. The crone, wise, knows what's important, and holds on to those things that are important, and operates in grace. And we can also be all three of these at once. And again, this is just this one archetype I'm using as an example. Requires awareness. Until I read the trust frequency and until I applied it and practiced it, that didn't hit home as hard as it did. And there are some things I'm not even going to be able to articulate to you in terms of that experience. I just really hope you go buy the book. And again, awareness and assumptions is necessary for being in that impeccability, because we've got to be aware of the things we're saying, and then question the assumptions. Architects have answered the call where people are saying we shouldn't assume that everybody's okay with the word master. There's a 100 in questioning assumptions and being aware of these things. As a matter of fact, all of these, the awareness too. So you can see these are building blocks, but the 12 skills and the 10 assumptions and the 7 A's are all operating coherently to create this multidisciplinary, multi-sensory experience of really how we see our life. And that informs how we show up in our world as spiritual activists. Again, here they all are again. They're all necessary. And if they're practiced in a way that's meaningful and intentional and with will, because will and intention are partners, will can be slippery. So even though you have the intention, maintaining that will to practice, because this may not come easy for you. It didn't necessarily for me. I required some practice and I still practice it. A gift. Oh, here you go, Connie. Here's your slide. I think the spirit's repeating, don't you? Would you go ahead and do that?
Sure. Okay, here we have it. So here's a visual. With expanded awareness and accurate assumptions, we choose our attitude, consciously direct our attention, align with our highest inner promptings, take committed action, and allow the loving universe to manifest beyond our wildest dreams. The committed action piece is the kicker. Because if we don't act from that place, we don't get into the frequency where the magic lives. So we can't just think it, we just can't do it partially. We've got to act from that place to put our body into the frequency, into the flow where the magic is waiting for us.
Yeah, exactly. It is intention, it is will, and practice. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's even beyond intention. Yeah. Because so much of our intention comes from our lower vibration, the world that we've been in that says, oh, we want to be successful, oh, we want to do this, oh, we want to achieve that. When in fact, the universe wants something else for us that our soul came here to do. And so for me, I just say to the universe, ease and grace to freedom. That's all I tell the universe, because I don't want to limit the universe, because I want what it wants for me. So that's a little piece that we're bringing to the party with the trust frequency.
I found that the trust frequency is such a safety net for me too. I have to admit, for me, when I don't know, where I need to be or how to reconcile or navigate something. So it's such a gift in so many ways. And I can tell that you might have a different opinion to that, but I have to share with you really how it's shown up for me in my life. Until I really grok it, I consider it an absolute safety net and just a power skill that is so worth the practice. So yeah, and I love how you asked that question. So how about we ask that question to everybody? What do you think?
Okay, shall we have them turn on their cameras and come on in and have a little chat? Yes.
Right. Helps us get out of our own head, right? Because I think I need to be here. I'm very goal oriented. I used to be director of sales and marketing for a major home builder. I've got this kind of method of operation. And once I started practicing the trust frequency and asking myself this very question, what does the universe want for me? I totally reframed it. I became vulnerable. I had to practice some humility and get out of the way to the answers that were coming to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Because our soul said, yes, I want to go and do this. I want to go and be a poet. I'm going to bring the world visions through poetry. And we incarnate into a family where dad's a doctor and expects us to become a doctor. And then what happens is we don't get into med school. And we think it's the biggest tragedy in the world, when in fact it catapults us into becoming the poet we said we would become, because we're start pouring our heart into our tragedy of not being able to go to med school and start writing amazing poetry and become an amazing poet. So that's just how circumstance guides us on our journey to wholeness, that choice we made when we incarnated. And so it's just, this is a way to get out of that victim mentality, that victim story, to know that everything happens for us, not to us, that we came on this journey to wholeness and came on this journey to find and express our divine gift. The whole of creation is awaiting that gift we promised to bring to the party. And so everything's going to happen in our life to take us there, so that we do that. And we have to act. That bold, committed action piece is key. And Henry David Thoreau, in the conclusion to Walden, he has a very important little piece of this puzzle. And he said, when one walks confidently in the direction of his dreams, he will pass a certain boundary. The laws that apply to him will be expanded, or new laws will be made in his favor, and he will live with the license of a higher order of being. And also, he will experience a success unexpected in common hours. So that's just a key piece to keep in mind, that the laws are different. It's a different ball game in the higher frequencies. So shall we bring forth people who want to comment on this idea? And does it sit well with you? Do you understand it? Does it because it's a huge shift out of victim. Oh, poor pitiful me, this happened to me. And just to go into, hey, the universe loves me and has taken me to where I am right now. Anybody have any thoughts?
Hey, Connie, this is Noelle.
Yes.
I can see why you and Barbara Marx Hubbard hit it off so well.
Yeah.
You know, as we said in the introduction here, you know, Barbara's question to us is, what is your gift to the shift in humanity? And I think that is when you are in your alignment and doing what you came here to do. And with that one question, she changed she changed our life completely. Because that's when we went on the road, and now it's been over, 11 years and 9 years of doing the co-creators convergence. And, it's so much more joyful than we had. Much more money, much more everything materialistic before Barbara. And now we have much less of the material because we really don't find value in it. And we found much more value in our lives, our relationships, and how we spend our time. So I really agree with, when you get that nugget in your life. Yeah, we signed up for something to come here. And that's when the joy meter goes off the record, is when we connect with that. So thank you for bringing through a way to think about this, a perspective, and a way to actually attain it. I've been appreciating this. Thank you.
Well, first of all, nice to meet you somewhat in person, Sande, and Connie and I just love each other all the way back. So this has been really good to really take in, and first of all, what I really love about the magic of the co-weaving of the experience, and how, I mean, to me, that's just such a highlight, how someone is so influenced by someone else's gift, right? And one of the things that I've been really looking at is, the capacity to celebrate another another's gifts, and then watch how they shift. And that's, to me, that's why I love working with groups, because I love watching that happen. And you've just taken it to an exponential, level with, even looking at your two books side by side, it was just like, wow, it almost looks like you guys planned that, cover to cover. Yeah. So it's very cool.
You can't see them.
Yeah, you gotta
there they are.
There you go. Yeah. So it's interesting to me. I've just been spending a lot of time alone for quite a while, which is from being so involved in community and kind of pulling, coming back and somewhat because of COVID, but also because it's just the way the universe has unfolded. But the thing that I'm noticing, and it's an interesting query, I feel like, because when you say, what does the universe want for me, and to me, we have to be really careful because even in that question, it's separating myself from the universe. Like the universe is a thing. And I think something that's been happening for me lately is really going deeper into something that I resisted, growing up, which was God, because, original people say creator, and then we have God, and I grew up Jewish, and that was, I resisted that. But from the experience that you were describing, the experience that I was having was that there is no separation from me and the universe. That universal mind is me. And it's noticing where, I question actually asking that question, because it puts oneself in a very weird place where it's like, oh, am I doing something wrong? Am I not in alignment? And one of the things that has come to me over the past, like maybe 6 months, it's like God speaks in synchronicities. That's how the universe speaks. It is actually a language. And so from that place, and I really feel like I'm playing with exactly what you're talking about. Like, so where am I going to live, in the winter? Am I going to Maine? Am I going to stay in Sarasota? But the magic is when, as you've been describing, and I'll end here because I know other people must want to share, is just that, when we step into this world of wonder and wholeness, there is the direct experience of love. And I love the definition that you have, Connie, of love, and that love's presence moves me or moves someone into my sphere. And the spheres of influence happen. As example, I've been trying to heal my leg for 1.5 years, and just so happened to meet this woman. And for the very first time in 1.5 years, something starts to shift, and she's leaving the next day. And I'm like, oh no, where are you going? She goes, I'm moving to Sarasota, the place where I've spent many, many years of my life, know so much, there's so much community. And then kaboom, right? And you just you're tracking that energy. So I'm really going to take him deeper, what you've been sharing tonight, and, and just feel deeper into that question, or is there another question that we can be asking that, I'd love to hear your response about that thing of separation, making the universe something else other than myself, and trusting that. So I'm complete. Thanks for listening. And thank you, everyone.
Well, that's a really good point, Shelley, and wonderful to see you, my dear. And Shelley's actually written a book, an important book that's very aligned with Sande's book. It's a poetic approach to the synchronicities of life. And I wanted to hook Sande and Shelley up, so here they are. But yeah, that whole point of us being the conscious loving unit, we are it. And so then my point was with the concept of intention, to tell the universe what you want. I don't want to limit it by telling it I want such and such. So that's my only point is, so it's a fine line between making the universe the other and, you know, separating yourself from it, when in fact there's a vibratory level that we're not in contact with, that we're heading towards. So maybe it's a vibrational difference, you know, instead of a separation, it's just vibration. I don't know. What do you think, Sande, or others?
Yeah, well, and of course I want to hear from others as well, but I think that that when we ask a question, we open up for an answer, right? And we are asking ourselves, real quick, in 2015 at a women's assembly, the room was asked, what is your divine assignment? And if you don't know, ask the question. If you know, why aren't you living into it? And I did not know, but just the fact that the question was asked, I asked what was my soul's assignment. I'm asking my soul what its assignment is. So there's a little bit less of a separate identity or who I am, not my personality, but my, you know, the core of who I am, the fiber of who I am. And the answer didn't come to me just like that. It just started showing up, because now that the bell has rung, the universe has answered it. Then the universe will answer it. It'll come to you. But because you're in a state of curiosity, you're also in a state of awe and wonder if you approach it that way. And the universe will answer you. Can't unhear that. That's another way of framing it. For me, it worked magically. I discovered what it was, and boom, all these opportunities and things lined up for me, and things that I never thought I would in a million years be doing, which led me to right this minute with you all. So I'd love to hear from others. Oh, Reverend Yule Bhatti, I've known you for a very long time. Hi. Let's have you unmute.
Okay, thank you. Sande, it's a really wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a very wonderful time that after 2015 we met at S.A.R.A.H City. Do you remember?
Yes, of course.
No?
That's what I'm talking about, the Parliament of the World's Religions.
Yeah. So we were together. It's a really wonderful time that I have go through your conversation. That was wonderful. And really, that forgiveness is a very touching to me. In all over the world, if we forgiveness is very important in our teams. And your all conversation and all things are very, very important in our life. I'm very much refreshed and also blessed. And hopefully, I think forum just like this way will be a very fruitful for that. Our present scenario of the world. In the present scenario, it's everything is not in good manners, and although we need prayers, just like may peace prevail on earth, just like your peaceful. And every day, if we say may peace prevail on the earth, that will be a good energy and potential with the word together, that may peace prevail on earth, may peace prevail in Ukraine, and may peace prevail everywhere. There is frustration, there is hunger, there is a flood, there is everything. It's not a natural disaster. So thank you very much again, Sande.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, really, I'm very much blessed, and hopefully we'll meet together. I wrote you on my website for all. I recently updated my website. You can see, and just a feedback. Your feedback will be wonderful. Yeah, chat, abc4org. I am actually affiliated with the URI, United Religion Initiative, and World Peace Prayer Society. World Peace Prayer Society, this is a peace poll, and Sande is holding a peace poll there. That's wonderful. And also I am Peace Global, I am actually the Peace Poll coordinator of the World Peace Prayer Society, and also with the coordinator of A Better Community for All in Pakistan and also in Canada. And also love ambassador with the Global Love Day.
Very good. Thank you. And please do see Yule's link here in the chat window and follow up on that. Yeah, thank you. Indeed, you know, we are in a crashing all systems. Oops, all systems are crashing now. Okay, I'm going to unmute you, Roshana. All systems are crashing right now, and this is part of the breakdown and the breakthrough for breaking through, right? This is the seed that's disintegrating so new growth can come. Okay, let's hear from Roshana. Thank you.
It's actually Robbie.
Robbie.
Hi.
I'm sorry.
Hi, Robbie and Roshana.
Yeah, come a little.
We miss you guys.
Hi.
We miss you.
Hope you're having a good trip.
These are friends from Sunrise Ranch.
And Buddha.
Oh, hi.
Our what the conversation made me think of was like letting go and just being integrated into how everything is. My example is that I work with technology all day, every day. And I, quite a while ago, I decided, because of very type A personality, trying to, you know, set goals and attain goals and make things happen. And I did, but it wasn't with ease. It was a lot of stress to do it that way. And so, as Connie will attest, certain things just kind of magically happen for me around that arena, which the reason I bring it up is because I'm a workaholic and I do it all day, every day. But things just, now I just let it go and I say, well, I wonder how this is going to unfold. And all the other guys, you know, we have a daily stand-up meeting every day at 9 o'clock, and we talk about what our plans are for the day. And gosh, I'd say half the time it does not unfold like that. Like, these are the things that I have on my plate. These are the things that I think I'm going to do. And the universe has something else in mind. So, and then I'm getting older, so I don't remember some things that I signed up to do with Roshana, someone over for dinner or going out to dinner or going to some event or something like that. And it's like, oh, shoot, I gotta, just kind of retool. But instead of getting stressed about it now, I just kind of relax into it and go for it, fully with my heart, so that there's no stress that I bring to the issue of me forgetting or me not knowing the answer. That's the big deal. It's like I work on a lot of highly technical, hard problems that I just don't know the answer to, but it is so awesome the way the answers just unfold, and then, like, Connie will say, you're magic. And Connie and Andrew are like, you're just our magic man, you can fix anything. And I say, well, I'm just, bringing all of my energy and whatever I have to the table and letting that unfold with ease and grace and not pushing it too hard. And it seems, my life seems to be much better that way. So
I'd say ease, grace, and lots of love, Robbie.
yes, yes. I love
Your heart is so big.
Yeah, you seem to be a perfect model of living the trust frequency. Really.
Well, I love that book, and I love Connie and Andrew, and I love this conversation. So I forgot about this meeting, so that's why I was late. But anyway, here I am, and I'm bringing myself fully to it.
Yeah, so happy. Wow. Thank you, Robbie.
Nice to see you, Connie.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Oh, Rita. Okay, I did not realize that. Okay, I've asked you to unmute. There you go. Hi, Rita. Hi.
Hi. Delightful conversation, and I'm one of the trust freaks of the Roaring Fork Valley, having worked with Connie and Andrew through the development of this book and seeing it brought to life here. And I must say that the first assumption that launches us into the work was a challenge for me at the first, to really accept that we live in a conscious, loving universe and there is only love. And it may show up in some very strange and weird ways, but to really bring that assumption to the cellular level makes the journey a whole lot easier. And you know, there are times I have to go back and say, okay, can I really live that there is only love, and to accept the milieu that is happening. So it's a beautiful journey. And Connie, I hope that you'll mention that you have the ebook that's available to people. And Sande, I was delighted to hear how the weaving of Connie and Andrew's work supported you in getting your book published. And there's something very precious about living in that liminal space and being able to hold that as a cocoon as we try to be part of the metamorphosis. It's going to create the butterfly of this new world we're moving into. So thanks for reminding me about it's not just magic, it's a wonder of that space. So that's me.
Yeah, I gifted Rita your book, Sande.
Ah.
So.
Oh, that makes me so happy. Thank you. Yeah, it's not only nutrient rich, it's a place for discovery and disclosure of things you didn't even know, even things you weren't even looking for. And so when we set the environment to dive into that place and to stay there for a while, be timeful there, and practice these things. Remember the trust frequency.
And Sande says about noticing the flower in the crack in the sidewalk. You know, really going for that flower in the crack in the sidewalk. That's a really beautiful analogy. And it's such a treat, all of you, for coming forth and sharing from your hearts. I mean, this is a true sharing. Yeah. How beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. And this is my family. I know all of you very well, except for a couple of you. But thank you, family, for showing up and coming from your heart and expressing from your heart. Does anyone else have anything to bring? And there's Noelle, the catalyst for all this. Such a treat.
And I would just like to express my wellspring. Let me express my gratitude for you, Noelle, and Bob for holding this space so Connie and I could do this in another way. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, I know you just had such a beautiful presentation during World Unity Week, and I tuned in for it, and you had some technical difficulties. I said, well, we got to do something about that. They got to get this, So I'm so grateful, and I just apologize that for some reason Tennessee is voting on Thursday instead of Tuesday, so I had some poll duties I had to fulfill. So that made me a little late to the call. So, but it's wonderful to see the turnout here and to see the family here, and also, yeah, Roshana and Robbie, haven't seen you in a bit. That's wonderful, and Shelly, and it's just wonderful. And Rita always brings us wonderful guests. So I am so grateful that you all are here.
And Kate and Bonnie and Olivia, thank you. So shall we give a little spiel about where people can get what we have to offer? We're running out of time now. It's we got like 8 minutes.
Oh, sure.
Andy, do you have that screen?
I sure do. Hold on.
So we have a book, The Conscious Loving Universe, a guidebook. It's an ebook online that one can get at the trustfrequency.net. And we also have a online course where we apply the trust frequency principles to relationships. And it's called The Dance of Souls, the Relationship Revolution. And you can access that on our website as well. But it's really about understanding our choice to incarnate on this journey to wholeness, that everything happens for us, not to us. It's the conscious loving universe showing up for our soul's journey to self-love and self-acceptance and alignment with our divinity and our purpose. So it's a huge flip. We call it the big flip. So into that space where we really understand there is only love. We resolve that paradox of love, not love, so that we can understand in this construct that Andrew and I are bringing, that makes sense in this construct of the 10 assumptions and the definitions. So that's what we're offering to you.
And thank you, Connie, and the trustfrequency.net, but I bet everybody here has that, and anybody out listening and watching this in Facebook land right now, the trustfrequency.net. I just want to say you can go to the website and use the passcode, promo code alchemy for a little discount and a free gift and free shipping if you decide you want to buy the book at the liminalodyssey.com, or it's on Amazon. And I should have, I'm really excited to announce this to you, I should have the audio book completed in the next 2 weeks. Jerry Littlejohn, who is a Native American flute maker and composer and plays for, the original, particularly the indigenous grandmothers or whoever calls on her to play, and she makes these gorgeous flutes, and is such a spirit warrior herself. I asked her if I could use some of her music for the audiobook, and she told me she'd prefer to create an entire album for the book. So the music that you hear right now, she's synthesizing with the chapters, she's composing, she's recording, and by next week I'll have her recording, lay it down, and then you'll be able to listen to the book with her music behind it.
Oh, beautiful.
Isn't that lovely?
Beautiful.
I'm so excited, and I'll actually be able to broadcast that, and you're the first to hear it. So yeah, it's really a great honor. Everything that has unfolded, like my relationship with Connie from this book. This is the circumstance that happened in 1982 at a No Nukes rally to being here in this dynamic duo relationship, as Becky referred to us in the beginning of the call with Connie, it's truly been an odyssey. And I can't wait to see what other uncharted territories we're going to experience together.
Such a treat to be here with the family of co-creators. Rosaline Kerner just joined us, and we've been with her for the past week here in West Hampton, and she's an artist and an expanded thinker and a real supporter of ours. And it's just so great. I just wish we could have heard from Bonnie and Kate during this time, because I don't know Bonnie. I want to get to know you, Bonnie. I know Kate a bit, but Rosaline, we're just about to wrap up. So, and it's just, and with Roshana, we've been in co-creation with Roshana for many years, and Robbie being there. I mean, it's just amazing, this family and what Zoom has done to bring us together. And yeah, and Shelley with, oh my goodness, it's just been so great.
I unmuted Rosaline and Bonnie also so we can hear their voices, even though we only have a couple of minutes. Is that okay?
Oh, I really wish to come earlier, but I had friends and they show up unexpectedly. And here we are. So I really expected to come at 8, but time passed by, and just I welcome them, and that's why I am late. And I really wish to get to know you and to be a part of the of this evening, and maybe the next time.
I gifted Rosaline your book as well, Sande. And didn't I gift it to you, Shelley? I was going to, but I guess I didn't yet. You went on the road. You went on the road.
Yeah, so I will definitely be reading it, and it's wonderful to see you alive before reading your book.
Oh, thank you, Rosalie.
I will definitely.
Heard all about all of you. Actually, it's really an honor to see you all, virtually anyway. And the Parliament of the World's Religions is coming, if that is something of interest to you, next August in Chicago. So check that out. Very amazing, wonderful, interspiritual and religious place to show up. Dynamic, transformational experience. So,
and Sande and I are going to do a little dance there too, maybe. So Bonnie, can we hear your voice?
Yes, you may.
Oh, sweet.
I thoroughly enjoyed the topic this evening. It's right up my alley. I felt that I'm not as knowledgeable as all of you, but some of the processes that you've gone through in this conversation, I've already done on my own. So I look forward to getting the book and seeing how I can master this.
Sweet. Where are you? Where are you? You sound like you're in Canada when you said
am.
Process. Yes, you'll have to process. Where in Canada, Bonnie?
I'm in Alberta. I'm at Sylvan Lake. So sweet. I've just been here a year and a half. And this is one of the synchronicities that has happened in my life, my arrival here. This is where I'm supposed to be right now, obviously. The way it all happened within 3 days that I moved here. And I know I was guided because the day before I was looking for some property and a big rock came and hit my windshield and cracked it.
Oh, yeah.
I said, I think I better go home. And the next day I saw in the paper Sylvan Lake, and it wasn't in the section that I was looking for. I was looking at a different area. But somehow, and years ago, I had said, maybe 40 years ago, I said, I think that Sylvan Lake is where I'm supposed to end up.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow, Bonnie, what a great story.
Yes.
Fabulous story. Well, it's wonderful to get to know you a little. I hope to see more of you.
Yes. Are all the meetings this type of conversation?
All different types. And if you put your email in the chat, Bonnie, or anyone, I will send you our monthly list of conversationalists. And we are here every Thursday night and also the first Saturday of the month. So we do have one coming up this weekend. We have an alternative medical doctor who is going to be, title of his talk is Conversations with Cancer. And he's very knowledgeable about the gut and how everything works in the body. He's Dr. Thomas Ackling. So you may want to, that's at noon on Saturday.
Eastern. But I think you have my email because I got from Bob and Noel. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
That's us. Great.
Okay.
And if anyone wants to meet in person, we are having the Co-Creators Convergence 9th annual gathering at White Eagle Lodge in Montgomery, Texas. And that's going to be October 17th through the 14th. The 14th through the 19th, I believe it is. White Eagle Lodge, it's one of the most peaceful places we visit. The Temple of the Golden Rose is there, amazing labyrinth. Accommodations, everyone gets a semi-private room. All the meals are vegan. A lot of the food is grown on the property. It's $115 a night, a day, and includes all your meals. So if anyone wants information about that, you know where to find us, co-creatorsconvergence.com.
We'll miss you at Sunrise Ranch.
Yeah, we just haven't made it back there yet. So never say never, I say. So with that, I want to thank you everyone for being here. I want to give a shout out to Becky for helping us out at the beginning. I just wasn't able to be there, and I didn't want to cancel the call because I just love these ladies and wanted that to go forward. So thank you everyone for being here, and join us next Thursday if you like.
We just hear? Can Kate just say hi? Kate. Can somebody undo Kate and just have Kate just bring her voice in?
She's coming.
There's Kate. There you are, Kate.
Well, I too could just say it was a wonderful presentation. I think we're learning to navigate this liminal space between what's no longer working and where we're not at yet together. And I really love the metaphor of the sacred gardener. You know, we're kind of always weeding the garden of our heart, no matter where we're at in this life. And yeah, you know, I kind of have fallen in love with Mother Earth and known she was going to take care of me a long time ago. But so established this trust and been on this Synchronicity Express ride for a while now. But I think that you have to open your worldview for the trust to even develop. That it's a little bit difficult. And I'm hoping we can trust one another more and trust this how we tap into the soul of the world and know how real that voice is. So that's my voice.
Thank you, Kate.
The stories in the Liminal Odyssey are a relatable experience of how the trust frequency amplified it all for me. That will make my heart sing. And I just have to say one thing. It's so important that I say this to Bonnie. The only thing you have to master is your authentic self. These are suggestive tools. We happen to believe they work really well. But there's a condition, particularly that the society has, that we need to be doing something we're not doing enough. No, all we need to do is honor our soul's desire. And I want to thank you. Thank you for giving me that opportunity to share that with you, because you're perfect. And to master that acknowledgement that you are perfect in what you are is what I think the only thing that we all could do really well. So thank you.
Well, I think we do need to close on this synchronistic note. And you mentioned authentic self. And next Thursday, we have an amazing woman, Cheryl Murphy, and her talk is your authenticity is your superpower. Yeah. And she is a psychic medium. And she will be doing some readings as well. So if anyone's interested in that, come back here next Thursday night for Cheryl. So good night, everyone. Love to all.
Noel and Bob, we love you.
Thank you. We love you too. May peace prevail on earth.
Yay, may peace prevail on earth.
Onward to peace on earth.